Now, we're going to ask a deeper question. We know we can catch someone's anger or joy, but what about compassion? What makes a person stop and help a stranger in need? Is it something we learn, a moral choice? Or is it something deeper, something hardwired into our very being? Let's dive into Chapter 4, An Instinct for Altruism. The Spark, the Puzzling Preachers. I want you to picture a fascinating and frankly disturbing experiment that took place at the Princeton Theological Seminary. You've got a group of students, future ministers, who are getting ready to give a practice sermon. Now get this, half of them have been assigned to talk about the parable of the Good Samaritan. The story of the man who stopped to help an injured stranger on the side of the road after others, supposedly more pious people, had walked right by. So these students, with the very idea of selfless helping on their minds, have to walk to another building to give their sermon. On the way, the researchers planted a man slumped in a doorway, groaning in obvious pain. What do you think happened? Did the students thinking about the Good Samaritan stop? They were no more likely to help than anyone else. In fact, a shocking number of them walked right past him. The single biggest factor that determined if someone stopped wasn't their piety, not their goodness, not what was on their mind. It was whether or not they were in a hurry. The empathy killer. We all face this experiment reveals the single biggest obstacle to empathy and compassion in our modern lives. We are too busy. We are too distracted. We fall into what sociologists call the urban trance, a self-absorbed state where we shut out the world just to cope with the overload. And in that state, we don't just shut out the distractions. We shut out the compelling needs of the people right in front of us. As Goleman puts it, simply paying attention allows us to build an emotional connection. Lacking attention, empathy hasn't a chance. Now, contrast that with a personal story he shares. He's heading into a crowded New York City subway station, and he sees a man sprawled motionless on the stairs. A steady torrent of humanity was just stepping over his body, rushing to get home. But Goleman, perhaps because he'd recently been writing about the homeless, stopped. And the moment he stopped, he says, something remarkable happened. Other people stopped too. Almost instantly, a small circle of concern formed. One person ran to get food, another water, another a transit cop. The man, who had fainted from hunger, was revived and cared for within minutes. All it took was one person to break the trance. When we witness an act of kindness like that, it stirs a warm feeling of uplift in us. Psychologists call this elevation. And here's the beautiful part. Elevation is contagious. Seeing a good deed makes you want to do one too. The real reason we disconnect sometimes, the thing that puts us in a trance, isn't the rush of the city, but the noise inside our own heads. Goleman tells a story about visiting Brazil with his son. For the first few days, the people seemed aloof and reserved, but by the end of the trip, everyone seemed incredibly warm and friendly. Did the people of Brazil change? Of course not. Goleman realized that he had changed. He and his son had arrived as uptight gringos, preoccupied with their own anxieties about being in a new culture. Their own self-absorption was a filter that literally prevented them from seeing the warmth that was there all along. This is a profound truth. Self-absorption in all its forms kills empathy, let alone compassion. When we focus on ourselves, our world contracts, but when we focus on others, our world expands. It's not morality, it's biology. Okay, you might be thinking, this is all well and good, but being kind is a choice. It's about being a good person. Goleman says the evidence points to something far more primal. The impulse to help is an instinct. It's built into our biology. A lab rat sees its cage mate suspended in distress and struggling. The first rat gets upset too, and figures out how to press a bar that lowers its friend to safety. Monkeys are trained to pull a chain to get food. But then they see that every time they pull the chain, another monkey in plain sight gets a painful shock. What do? Most of them stop pulling the chain, choosing to starve themselves for days rather than hurt the other monkey. From the moment they're born, babies who hear another baby cry will start crying themselves, as if they feel the distress too. A few months later, they don't just cry. They actively try to soothe the other baby. Rats, monkeys, and babies. This shared response suggests a hardwired system in the brain that makes us notice another's suffering, feel it ourselves, and want to help. This is the low road in action. It's an automatic, primal impulse, the 1, 2, 3 of compassion. So, a 3-step sequence emerges. I notice you. Attention. I feel with you. Empathy. I act to help you. Compassion. Neuroscience shows us that this sequence is built into our wiring. When we hear an anguished scream, the parts of our brain that experience anguish light up, but so does the part that prepares our body to move. Our perception is directly linked to our actions. To see distress is to prepare to help. For centuries, philosophers have debated our fundamental nature. Thomas Hobbes argued life is a selfish war, and we only help others to relieve our own distress. But the Chinese sage Mencius argued that all men have a mind which cannot bear to see the suffering of others. The science of the social brain is now siding with Mencius. Our brain is preset for kindness. So why don't we always help? Because modern life creates distance. Seeing suffering on a TV screen is not the same as seeing a child about to fall into a well in front of you. That distance weakens the direct, low-road emotional contagion and leaves us with a more detached, cognitive empathy. We know we should feel sad, but we don't feel the pain. That separation mutes the primal instinct to act. This chapter tells us that our capacity for kindness isn't some fragile thing we have to build from scratch. It's a powerful, ancient instinct. The real work isn't to create it, but to stop blocking it. The work is to break the trance of our hurried, distracted, self-absorbed lives and simply pay attention to the human beings right in front of us. Let's talk about this. The Princeton experiment is jarring. Being in a hurry made good people walk past someone in need. When has being rushed or mentally preoccupied in your own life caused you to completely miss an important human moment or an opportunity to help someone? Think about a time you witnessed an unexpected act of kindness. The elevation Goleman describes. How did it make you feel? Did it change your own mood or behavior, even for a few minutes? What are the biggest trance inducers in your daily life? What are the things, your phone, your to-do list, your worries, that most often pull your attention away from the real, live people around you?